Welcome, family, to another edition of T-Limbs Presents The Bridge. I hope you guys are hungry out there because you know something, we got a smorgasbord of information that's going to fill your soul.
Don't rock your
mind.
mind.
Your belly and your soul.
Don't rock
Because
your
you know
mind.
something, look here. You know something, I got Coach Don Jenkins, you know something, you know what he's going to do. So, and you know something, I got my homegirl from A-Town, Akron, Deanna, right? You know how we flow in the big old baby. You know, and of course, my friend Jay. What's your last name?
Fuller.
Jay Fuller. Okay.
Green time. Yeah.
Yes.
Green time.
Green every day.
Green every day.
I hope y'all are hungry because we got some food for you.
Okay.
Let me say hello to JD.
Hey,
What
what's
it
happening,
is.
JD? Okay.
Carlin,
My girl, change it up. My girl.
Rockstar. We also have Anthony.
Hey, the art.
I'm going to send a shout out to my man, Mr. Johnson.
Okay.
What's up there, Mr. J?
Hey.
All right. Okay, I also want to
Plug Abstract Excellence. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You know who that was? That was JD. That was Jermaine.
That was a
But
plug.
what was it again?
That was a plug for Abstract Excellence.
Abstract
June 16th,
excellence.
people. June 16th, we coming back.
June
We'll see
16th.
y'all.
He got a dynamic show coming. You know something? We feed y'all. You know something? I hope y'all exercise because, you know, we be feeding y'all so much stuff that y'all just, you know. Anyway, but I want to say hi to, send a shout out to Ron and Reggie, our gurus that make this happen.
Right.
Oh, you know something? We got a full house today. Teresa's going to be here. And guess what?
Yeah,
The
man.
infamous Fran.
Yes.
Francis.
Yes.
It's
Don't
gonna be
forget,
here.
Stan the Man. We can't forget Stan the Man.
And you know
Can't
something?
forget
Stan the man. My man, what's happening?
That's
Okay,
Siobhan.
and Siobhan, hey, everybody.
We got a whole
You know
crew.
something? We got a list of folks.
Yeah,
You know, we that little
And the
Rolodex
mom.
thing. So
Yeah, right.
And
Oh,
the
yeah, and
mom.
Mom.
hey, Ma.
Yeah.
And Jay
Mom.
Dakota,
Hi,
I
Mom.
forgot.
Hey, Ma.
Oh,
Lil Riley.
my bad.
You know something? I'm gonna be brief because we're gonna get because we got a lot of information for you guys. I'm gonna give y'all guys a quick editorial. It's the holiday weekend, Memorial Day. So you know, you guys be careful and enjoy the holiday. To the veterans out there. Thank you for all that you've done. This is for Colin Cabinet.
You're welcome.
You know, we
Yes,
with
you
you.
are welcome.
I would get on one knee, but I won't be able to get back up, so I just gonna bypass that. You know, so anyway. Also, you know, we need to support one another. I watched a program with 4 young ladies. What is it called?
4 sisters.
4 sisters. You know something? They got a little thing, and Coach, it reminded me of you. She said, and they got a little thing where they do a little sway at the end of the show, and then they said, walk in your purpose.
Come on now.
Walk in your purpose.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Come on now.
Walk in
I
your
just wanna
purpose.
say-
Okay, that's right.
Now.
I told you.
Now.
I told
I
you.
said now.
Oh, yes.
Walk in
The
your
time
purpose.
is now.
Now
Okay?
is the time.
Tell them. Tell them.
Praise
God.
God.
Now. Tomorrow's not promised.
Not later.
So let's do whatever
Now.
God has told you to do, whoever God has put in your life. Now is the time.
Now
Make
is
it
the
happen.
time.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I told y'all,
That's
man. You know, so y'all better unbuckle your pants and hold your shirt open or whatever, because you know we gonna feed you. We gonna feed you.
Whoa.
Oh, also, I saw something the other day. It was David Ruffin's daughter, and she was going through her little trials and tribulations, and she made the statement that he had to die in order for her to live.
Wow.
So now, Coach, I'm going back to you. I'm going to get Coach fired up. Because you know
Okay,
something?
you already got him
Somebody
fired up.
died so you can live. And I know you know his name. What's his name?
His name is Jesus.
Yeah,
Jesus. He's the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the Alpha and the Omega,
Told
the
you.
beginning and the end, the first and the last. He's the everlasting
All right,
Father, the mighty God,
Okay.
the Prince of Peace.
Okay.
He is my Savior.
Okay.
He is my strength.
Okay.
He is my way maker.
Okay.
I'm talking about Jesus.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
And you better know it. You know something like
If you don't know it, you know it now.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you don't know it, you know
I
it
told
now.
you. I'm getting
Okay.
ready to, you know, and this ain't no obscene thing, but unbuckle my pants now because, you know, I'm getting full. So wait a minute.
Mirror.
Uh-oh, the
Put
mirror's
your
back.
block in this foundation. This is for
mirror's
you.
back.
You know something? Again, you know, so guys, like I said, we need to support each other in our endeavors. We need to come together in this. You know, actually, Twyla and I was talking about, you know, something. I asked her, what did I ask you?
If it was one, I don't know what I asked her. I asked her something else.
I told you. You know,
If there's one thing.
Twyla's our everything. You know, we just.
She is.
you-
I can
you know,
I can concur.
I'm
She
sorry,
is.
I'm jumping around. Did I say something about abstract excellence?
You didn't, but you did. It's okay. I got
Okay.
you. We
Yeah, you
here.
did.
Okay,
We here.
well,
Don't even worry about it.
I'm throwing it in here again.
There you go. You did, but you
actually,
didn't,
I'm
but you
stalling
did.
for Twyla to think because she ain't as old as I am. So, but you know. But anyway, what was the question I asked you?
That's a great compliment.
Now you know.
You don't know.
I said, now you know. Yes,
Oh,
I,
we just-
I know.
Okay, what did I
know
ask
the
you?
answer. You asked me, what is the one thing that black folks need to do that would make a big impact? The
Okay.
One thing
Now,
that we as black
we
people.
need you to do this to come together to show our economic power. And like I said, do this for 2 days. Please, folks, just try it. You know, as a matter of fact, it's going to be on the news because they said, damn, I mean, the Dow Jones has dropped.
That was his one for today.
I know. Okay, I got it out. It's out of my system, AJD. It's out of my system. But, you know, this is important for us to come together. You know, support each other. We need to support first each other on this program. Subscribe, man, to all of, because, you know, we are providing information out there for you guys to make you guys better and stuff that you need, that you might not find on Facebook. You surely ain't going to find it in the other book. You ain't going to find it on the news. So, again, support our programs. And we all that has a program on the Vox station, support each other, man.
Yes,
Golly.
yes,
But back to what I was asking Twyla.
This girl.
See, I got the name right. I ain't calling you. What's the other girl name?
Tawanda.
Okay, so I shouldn't even brought that up. But anyway, okay, excuse me, Jay. We're going to do this thing for 2 days, and we ask, you know, because we want to show you guys and show them what our economical dollar represents. So for 2 days, don't go to a retail store.
What we said was like when the Montgomery bus boycott worked because that's the last great thing we did as black people because we showed our economic power.
Come on.
We
Yeah.
pulled out, and that bus went bankrupt.
Right.
Because that boycott went over 365
Effective
days.
income.
Right.
We have not made any significant stride as black people since
on.
then. But it's because of our dollar, and that's how this world revolves around. Man's system is a dollar-driven
That's
system
right.
in a capitalist society. And so when he asked me the question, it took me that long to think. I said, we need to stop purchasing anything from retail in the corner stores. 2 days.
2 days.
Think
2
about how
days.
much money
2 days.
that we would, and think about that money. You didn't send it to this person, and that money should be going back to our community, to our neighborhoods, to our businesses. 2 days.
Just 2
2 days.
2 days.
Don't go to retail,
2
don't
days,
go to
people.
corner
You
stores.
try it
2
for
days.
2 days just to see our
What you
economic
say.
empowerment. And so, and that, you know what I mean? That in itself is going to show the strength in our dollar. So now, if we got that kind of strength, and we have that type of unity, and we talk unity, Coach. Man, imagine what we can do collectively.
Let me just say this to you. This is what the big people do. ESPN is partnered with ABC.
Okay.
And ABC is partnered with Disney.
Going
Okay.
somewhere with it.
Disney
There
is
you go.
partnered with the NBA.
Okay.
And when one of them makes it, they all make it. Wait a minute. The airlines are partnered with the hotels, and the hotels are partnered with the rental cars.
And don't
So
let me
when
forget,
one
don't
of them
forget,
make-
hold on, don't forget this part of it. The media stations, TNT, TBS,
Yeah, all
NBC,
them together.
they're all actually
partners.
Yeah.
clear partners into the NBA. That's how the NBA numbers, when they go back to renegotiate
on.
the actual, what is it called?
Television contracts.
The television contracts in reference to those things. That's where these players getting
Yeah, that's
spiking
why
money.
they get
'Cause,
paid.
yeah,
Yeah.
those contracts add to the salary cap in the
Ex-
actual league.
exactly.
So it's
So
a
when
legit
one makes
partnership.
it, who's
Yeah,
all in
Everybody
yeah.
is.
That's the whole message
Yeah.
here. And the Bible says it's not good for man to be alone. The God we serve is a God of relationship. He wants us to have a relationship with him, but he also wants us to have a relationship with each other.
Each other.
He said over and over in the Bible, it says love one another, help one another, encourage one another, strengthen one another.
Yeah.
So we got to learn how to come together
Yeah.
and to develop relationships. Because my gift I can only go but so far by myself. But if I partner with your gift and I partner with your gift, and then that opens up and you partner with my gift, we can take this thing to whatever God's limit is. So we got to learn how to come together.
Let me ask a question.
Go ahead.
And we'll create a chain. You know what I mean? So in order to create a chain, you take one link and you hook it to another piece. Now, by itself, it's just a link.
Yeah.
That's right.
But put it together, it becomes a chain.
Come on.
You know what I mean? So if you link and link and link and link and link,
Strong chain in it.
absolutely, absolutely, very good.
And that brings us to
It's
our
a strong
whole
chain.
show for
So,
today.
and we support one another.
Unless my man let it go.
Exactly. But see now, but you got to hit that chain.
You got to
The chain is always connected to a building or something or some kind of structure, but you got to hit that chain up
Right. Absolutely. That's right.
to that structure, and through that structure, he's going to pass down and strengthen each link of that chain, and that chain is going to be as strong as long as it stays connected. Now, without that connection, it's just a chain. So what you going to do with a plain chain?
Nothing.
Nothing.
It's gonna break.
Exactly. So it has to connect.
Put him on.
Oh yeah. Oh, it becomes what they call them? A medallion. Not a medallion, but okay, yeah.
He gonna turn up with it. That's what he about to do. He about to turn up with it.
Right. So, but anyway, that's why I kind of went on a tangent there, but I'm back now. Okay. All right.
Well, really?
How y'all doing? How y'all doing?
Really?
Well, we need you guys again. I ask humbly for your support and for so it's not for me, it's for you.
Yeah.
So something now, if you don't want something and don't support nothing, and guess what? Nothing from nothing. Y'all learned this back in grade school. Leaves nothing.
Okay.
0 plus 0 equal what?
Billy Preston.
0.
All right.
Nothing from nothing.
Leave
from nothing.
Eddie Murphy.
You gotta have
Sunday
something.
night.
If you want to be
Oh,
with me,
Jay.
yeah,
You
gotta
gotta
have something.
You gotta have something.
You gotta
have
have
something.
You gotta put
have
something in.
Well, nothing leaves
If you want to
nothing.
be
Exactly.
Yeah, if you want to be with me.
Yeah.
Okay. You know something? I ran my mouth enough for you guys, but I just wanted to get y'all kind of fired up. And
That
I was
connects
trying to
our
go
chain.
back.
Hold on. I got you.
Uh-oh.
That connects our chain. And our chain is connected by the distinguished panels that we have today.
Yes.
Everyone on this panel today has something to give life.
That's right.
Something to give life.
Amen.
I'm going to tell you about this young lady that we're looking at right here who traveled from North Carolina, from Charlotte, North Carolina. I have to read this off the bat because this is impactful. She's the author of a book called I Got the Sugar, but the Sugar Ain't Got Me.
All
Hold
right,
on, let me say something. Let me say something
Let's
right quick.
lean in a
Hold on,
little bit.
one quick thing.
Let's get
When she was reading, I said, "Who is that?"
Yeah.
Oh, you
Right.
didn't know
I've
that.
been knowing that from a little bit. But
Yes,
anyway,
he
go
said,
ahead.
who-
Yeah,
you
he
know
heard
that.
it, like,
You didn't know that.
Who's that?
Yeah.
Watch this. Deanna Rice is CEO of the award-winning The Sugar Foundation Incorporated. While working as a registered nurse at the Veterans Administration Health System, Rice noticed an alarming number of veterans being admitted to the hospital for complications of diabetes. One patient of note was admitted after stepping on an object the week prior during a family vacation. His foot was wrapped in a washcloth and a plastic bag.
Wow.
When the bag was removed, Rice discovered an infection between his toes. By the time it was noticed, it was too late. The gentleman was taken to surgery and his toe was amputated. Rice asked the patient if he had diabetes, and the patient replied he didn't know anything about diabetes, but he knew he had the sugar.
Go ahead, girl.
That's when the Sugar Foundation was
Sugar
born.
was born.
The sugar.
That sugar was born.
Since then, the foundation's mission has been to change the face of diabetes through collaboration, communication, and education with a goal of raising awareness in communities that are underserved and disadvantaged. Dee Dee, my friend, our friend, is a graduate of Kent State University with a bachelor's degree in business administration, Case Western Reserve University with a master's in business administration, and Cuyahoga Community College with an associate degree in nursing. She is the mother of 2 daughters, Ashley and Alexis. Dee Dee,
Yes,
take it
ma'am.
away.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you.
baby.
Sugar.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you for having me on, you guys. I
Thank you for
appreciate it. It's
coming.
nice making new friends. I always love making new friends and spreading a little bit of love, because that's what it's all about, is love.
Yes.
And I know that people don't really think about diabetes in the form of what it is, but what we figured out is that a lot of people don't even know what it is.
Come on.
They can have it for 20, 30, 40 years,
Right.
and the only thing they know is that
She already started it.
they got the sugar.
They got the sugar.
That's all they know, is that they got the sugar.
I got sugar.
I got sugar.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's-
You know something?
Yeah.
Now, Dee Dee, let me, because I didn't know, see, I got a little educated, listening to you. Like you said, I got sugar. What, you drank too much Kool-Aid?
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
Right.
Sugar, what, you ate too many jelly donuts? I don't,
But that's what old folks used to say back in the day.
What you say?
That's what they said. Old folks used to say back in the day. I got the sugar. I got sugar.
I got
But
sugar.
that's why
we
there's
did-
so many complications in the hospital, because
talk to us,
when
please.
people come in the hospital, we start talking medical terminology. We start talking about diabetes, hypoglycemia, hyperglycemia, insulin dependency. Those aren't our words.
Right.
So when you talk to us and you want to educate us and you want to make us well instead of making us non-compliant, because
on.
that's what they call you when you come back into the hospital after not following
That's right.
the order that they gave you.
No, did you hear what she said? The
Yeah,
order.
they
Yeah.
name you, they call you non-compliant, and that gets spread from report to report, is that you're non-compliant. But if you don't understand, it's not a matter of non-compliance, it's a matter of not understanding. Simple and plain, just that simple. So when we give people educational material in the hospital, it's learn about your diabetes.
That's right.
And then in there's a whole bunch of words in there that talk about diabetes. Now, I would understand a pamphlet because I went to school to learn about those type of words.
Right.
But when the gentleman came in and his foot is about to get cut off and he doesn't understand, all he knows is he's got the sugar and somebody's talking to him. And I listened to the doctor talk to him. Sir, you got diabetes, we're going to have to cut your foot off. And he didn't say cut. He said we're going to have to amputate your toe because it's infected to the point. And he's looking like this. And I said, did you understand what the doctor said? He said, no, I didn't understand. I know he said I got the sugar, but I don't know anything else. So in the healthcare, we are so vain and so above everybody that we forget that we're talking to common everyday people, and it really irritates me because black people are affected the most. And that's just calling it real for what it is. We get medicated differently, we get treated differently. When we have cancer, we get Tylenol for pain, even though I can be in the same hall, have 2 people, one white, one black, same diagnosis for the most part. Both of them have stage 4 lung cancer. When I come in and they both are in pain, I have a myriad of choices for the white guy. I have Dilaudid, Vicodin, oxycodone, morphine, you name it, I got choices. The black dude, he has Tylenol. And then I have to go into advocacy mode. Wait a minute, does this make sense? Do you think this guy he's in less pain than this dude and they both got stage 4 lung cancer?
Why is that,
But-
Dee Dee?
Because they think that they're going to turn us into drug addicts, especially if you have a drug history. Now, if you got stage 4 lung cancer, does it really matter whether I turn you into a drug addict or not?
Is that
Isn't the
really
whole
the
point?
justification?
I swear
It
to
is.
goodness, as I sit here as a nurse, I
there.
deal with this
Okay,
every
so-
single day.
Yeah, because I know y'all about that, but I gotta get. hold on.
Yeah.
It's clearly a justification. Let's be clear with that part. But they're worried about turning a stage 4
Lung cancer patient that's
into
getting ready
an
to die
addict that's
into
about
an
to
addict.
die.
Yes. Absolutely.
Especially if they
Absolutely.
have any
Yes,
history
they
of
do.
drug abuse in their past.
Yes, they do. Even if you don't have drug things in your past, because of the current situation with the drug epidemic and oxycodone and people taking fentanyl and killing themselves, even with that they have backed off because once a law goes into place, it's not for white people. It's for black people. It's for people that are underserved, and not just black. I'm talking colored.
Yes.
You can be brown.
Minorities.
You can be Latino. Latinos get it. They might as well be black. It's the same exact thing, and it's even worse because you have a language barrier.
You know what's so amazing about what Dee Dee said on the show that was right before you guys? We are sounding the alarm, Jay and I, and we're sounding the alarm on this health thing. And Jay, I want you to just to tap right on in real quick, because Jay had diabetes, had high blood pressure. He had
sugar.
You had the sugar. You had the sugar.
I had the sugar, and guess what? I am a respiratory therapist, so I know exactly what she's talking
Absolutely,
about.
you do.
Because I deal with people who have lung disease every day, in stage.
Now, am I lying?
She's telling the complete truth.
Honest to God, as I sit
Right
here and
on
I'm
point.
as
I
I'm sitting
had
here
the
talking
sugar.
to you.
But didn't you have cholesterol?
I had high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol. I was a couch potato, brain fog.
Almost had a heart attack.
I was in trouble. I had chest pain, and finally the light bulb came on. This was after 20 years of not doing anything with the sugar.
Yeah, but part of not doing
It
anything,
was education too.
absolutely.
Watch this.
And this is the thing. It's the education.
But Jay now, after 5 years, not only has he lost 96 pounds, not only has he kept 96 pounds off.
Absolutely.
Wait a minute, here's the kicker. He no longer is on any medicine.
All right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this
And
is
guess what? The medication, when I was on it, had me craving the things like that.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's very
Oh,
addictive.
I'll tell
that.
you,
It's
and I'll
very addictive.
I knew that.
Yes.
I knew that.
It's
This
very
is why. Hold
addictive.
on. Now, this is why
Yes.
I
The
said
doctors want to keep you on that medication.
Right.
Some,
I'll
not
let them.
all.
I knew that though.
They want to keep you in a state of business.
yeah.
Wow.
You're just a project.
You are
Dee and I,
you are a
we on
number
the
in a
same
bed,
page.
and when that bed stops making money, it's
gotta
time
go.
for you to go.
Yeah.
I don't care
What
what
your
your situation
situation- that's
is.
it.
That's why there are so many reoccurring visits to the emergency department, because when we send you out,
That was major what you just said.
Yeah.
oh, there's so many reoccurring visits, because
Just keep you
here's the here is the
readmission.
situation. This is the situation. You come in, something's wrong. Now, everybody knows that nobody wants to go to the hospital.
That's right.
Right? I mean, but they act like you want to come in. Nobody wants to come in. So you come in, you tell them what's wrong. They give you a pill. If you don't feel better, come on back. Nobody tries to diagnose you. This is not a curative situation that we're in the healthcare
They
system.
don't
It is a
explain-
treatment
they don't
system.
explain what-
Right.
what-
Yeah, it
what
is a
this
treatment
Exactly.
system.
But that's not that hard to figure out if you kind of snap out of dependency mode. And what I mean by that is this: America is not a place of healing. Like you said, it's a place of treatment. Because that is big pharma.
Well,
that
capitalism.
without speaking certain things, and I don't know how that
Okay,
works.
let me say it.
Yeah.
Let me say it.
Go ahead.
There was an article in the paper. Insulin costs have skyrocketed. Okay, people are trying to decide whether to eat or medicate themselves. So they're trying to make this decision between, do I eat or medicate myself? When you have medication that has not changed, insulin was discovered in 1922. So in 1922, they discovered insulin. Since 1922, it's 2019. The formulary for insulin has not changed one iota.
Interesting.
But the medication cost has tripled. It has gone from $200 a month to $500, between $500 and $700. So when you talk about big pharma, and you pull up big pharma and the ones that sell diabetic medication, all 7 or 8 of them make upwards of $1 billion to, I think the highest was $14 billion just in their
they want you to come back.
diabetic medications.
And that's not including the rest of their medicine.
That
on
is
their
just
adult
diabetes.
care.
No, they can't afford it because
So
they
now
want them
listen,
to come. They want them to come back.
Now this
Exactly.
no, what she just said is why I said, I'm not plugging, but we talk about on abstract excellence. Part of the thing that I talk about a lot is meeting people where they are, not where you expect them to be.
Absolutely.
So again, we live in America in a place where they want us to meet them where they say, not where we are.
But you don't have to be a part of that. Now, not to cut you
Go
off, JD, but you know something now. Again, they want you to have these medications. But Jay is an example. I'm kind of jumping the gun.
Yeah.
Jay is an example of how we can, okay, just so y'all understand, medicate ourselves by eating healthy, eating the proper foods, drinking the juices, and
Understanding
things
the
of that
power
nature.
of the plate and
Okay.
making sure
Say that again.
the power of the plate.
Power of the
You need
plate.
to understand that. You need to know what proteins are. You need to understand what they can do for you, and you need to know what plants can do for you, because you don't have to have diabetes. We don't have to have high cholesterol. We don't.
In
A
1971,
lot of us choose to go down that route.
0.2% of African Americans had diabetes.
So I was going.
0.2%
date?
in 1972, in the 70s. We didn't have
You gonna love what
20%
I'm
of
about to say.
people.
Yeah.
I'm about to
Listen,
jump in.
So, I mean,
I'm almost sure you're about to take what I'm about to say
When
and
you
run
talked
with it.
about the two things that we need to do to stay away from the businesses that we need to stay away from, those two. Stop running to them. Because they're making a money off of our black people every
So
single, because the
stop running to
medication,
Coca-Cola.
the medication,
That was one of them. What was
the
the other
doctor's
one?
going to continue to order it, and he's not going to explain to you. Because if I had the education behind it, they don't spend that much time. It's like
They don't have
what,
time.
10 minutes.
We don't have time. I mean, we have time, but we don't have time to educate you appropriately. Plus, we don't have the proper everything in place. Every part of your body is separate, even though it works as one. If you get something wrong with your brain, you're going to see a psychiatrist, your heart, a cardiologist. You're break your leg, you're going to see an orthopedic specialist. If you have diabetes, you're going to see an endocrinologist. If
teaching,
something's
y'all.
wrong with your kidneys,
That's
you're going to
crazy,
see
teaching.
a nephrologist. So when you have all these people and all of them have egos, so everybody thinks my care is the appropriate care that's given
I'm
you, and everybody
Superman.
else needs to
I'm
fall in line.
Superman, yep.
So now, if your heart
Superwoman.
has something to do with your blood pressure, and your kidneys have something to do with your blood pressure, and you have both of those wrong, and they're both giving you blood pressure medicine, what's going to happen? Your blood pressure is going to tank because you're listening to the kidney doctor that only tells you to take this 3 times a day, so you're not non-compliant. And then you had a cardiologist telling you, take this 3 times a day, and you do it so you're not compliant. Then you wonder why you're tired. Well, you're tired because your blood pressure is low, and you don't even know it. You don't even know it.
You know something? They're called practitioners.
Yeah.
Okay, now, when you are coming up in sports or whatever entertainment, you practice until you perfect it. So medicine is a practice. And now, since polio, and they found a cure for polio, now they can't make money off of polio
But that's
anymore.
because Jonas
What have they
Salk
cured?
would not allow that polio vaccination to be sold. He gave it to the United States government on the contingency that it's given free.
Come on.
And ever since Dr. Jonas Salk, who was a man of faith, he didn't just talk it, he walked it and showed it. And he never became a multimillionaire of any sort. We haven't done anything since
Well,
then.
exactly.
Well,
Now,
looks like all
this
these
new
viruses that
outbreak
come
of
out,
measles.
measles.
Come on, now, measles been dead for how long?
How do you get the outbreak of measles when you
So-
still have those immunizations that are required for
Right.
school? The MMR, this series, that series, this series,
Because
that
they're
series.
blaming it. See, it's all a scare tactic. So what they want to do is they want you to think like the flu. Let's take the flu. It's
Let's
a perfect
go.
example.
Very good.
Let's take
How
the
about
flu.
let's talk about this pneumonia shot that they just came up with. They're
It's
giving
not.
the elder.
It's not new. The
Okay.
pneumonia shot's been around, but this is the thing. If they want you to take a flu shot, they're going to scare you to take it. It's never like, if you want to, please take the shot. There's always an outbreak, if you notice.
death.
There's deaths. There's not a death.
Right.
There were 276 deaths from the flu in North Carolina. Now, they never talk about how many people got the shot and still got the flu. Right. The reason why you get the shot and you still get the flu because you have to guess what strain is coming out
That's
this year.
what I'm talking about.
Like you got to guess. So if I inoculate you, give you a shot. If I give you a shot and it's for influenza A, but influenza B comes out because it, manipulates itself, then you're still going to get the flu. And you're going to be wondering, why did I get the flu and I got a flu shot? Because it's all a guess. And if they really feel like you're getting defiant and not taking the shots, they'll give you the flu. Like the guy that in D.C., the doctor, the researcher in D.C. that was found floating in the river.
Right.
Yes, because he was found floating in the river because he was about to bust them and saying half of it is actually the flu shot and the other half is the flu.
Watered it down.
So they were giving people the flu. This was last year.
Wow.
This was last year.
When have you known poison to cure poison?
But look,
so you're not putting that poison in my body.
I was trying to, but she had me so, I was telling Coach he's probably going to run with this. The problem is far less all physical, right? And the toxicity that we put in our bodies isn't necessarily just food. It's here. Yeah. Faith.
You're right.
When you talk about 70, 80 years ago, our great-grandparents, they didn't have all these things.
Had the blueprint.
They walked by faith first, right?
Yeah. Very good, yeah.
And understanding that we need to do certain things to take care of ourselves, little simple things. So sometimes getting back to tradition can help you find the ways to go forward.
You know what?
Let me piggyback on that.
Go ahead,
yeah. Hey, listen. I'm trying to say, but this here and that faith though, that don't you?
Yeah.
Right.
So faith.
So we had our
faith
own
had to
garden.
lead. Yes.
Told us about melanin. What it does to our body.
Go ahead, bro. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was
For
able.
our body. I mean, everybody ain't got it.
So
Privileged to have it.
Yes.
So the sugar.
You darker than me.
what?
So you privileged to have more.
But we grew up with cabbage. We grew up with greens. We grew up with color.
We grew up with God.
Wait a minute. You didn't just grow up with those.
I need y'all to make sure y'all don't miss
You
that's what I was
didn't,
getting at.
but
We
listen.
grew up with God. Faith is the key.
Yes, faith is
foundation.
But listen, when you say we grew up with those things, we're still growing up with those things. But it's how are those things treated? If you look at the Dirty Dozen, kale is one of those Dirty Dozen. So on the Dirty Dozen, there were 19 different types of pesticide in kale.
That's right.
19 different pesticides. Whose body? Do you go around eating pesticide?
I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
We were talking about that
But
earlier.
the melanin in your body, man.
But we were talking
Can I
about.
get
Go
back
ahead.
to what
Okay,
you
go
said?
ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go
ahead.
ahead. What's your name again? I'm sorry.
Oh, was Jermaine?
He made a great point about we need to get back to the basics, and the reason why I'm piggybacking on that because my Aunt Gladys, who lived to be 100 years old, who happened to be a vegetarian, coached me back to health. She was the one that said, eat this, eat that, not this. She was the blueprint. She had the blueprint. She said, eat your vegetables, eat your beans, eat your protein. That's why I don't have the sugar anymore.
Absolutely.
God sent people my way. He sent her. He sent co-workers. He sent coach. He sent people. He sent who I needed.
Always does,
And what he
though.
does, and
Always
what he did
does.
was, the Bible says in Romans 12:22, do not be conformed to the things of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Of the mind.
Reason why Jay is at the place of being healed, lost the weight, kept the weight off, and has no medication, he had to renew all the conditioning that was poured into him for 20, 30-something years, and he had to go
It's
back.
a reconstruction of the mind
Well, the only way
first
you're
in
going
order
to
to
fix something is if
reconstruct
you
the
know that
body.
something is wrong. We were talking about earlier.
You got to choose better because if you
got to know better first.
Bingo.
You got to know better
So
first.
to know,
Starts
yeah,
right
exactly.
here.
You got to know better first.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Knowledge is key.
Yes.
But even having knowledge, you have a lot of people that know better
But they
and
still
say
don't choose it.
they want to, but you got to understand that
That's not knowledge. You know
wanting
what that
to
is?
and committing to is
That's
two
not
different
knowledge.
things.
That's not
Yeah,
knowledge.
but then-
when somebody
Well,
knows
but
something,
listen,
when someone knows something, it's
that-
not knowledge.
It's hard.
Hold on.
Conditioning.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
When somebody knows something, that's not knowledge. That's information. Because knowledge is wisdom.
See, that's why you the winner. See, there you go.
When you
That's
know
a good point.
something,
You're
it's
right.
just information.
True. I didn't think
And
about it like that.
they
Yeah.
treat everybody the same. So when they tell you to eat better, Well,
What
you
does
got-
that?
tell
What
me
does
your
that
name is
mean?
again?
Right.
Jay. So they say, Jay, we need you. You got diabetes. We need you to eat better and exercise. That's what they tell you.
But
Now,
what does
my
that mean?
nutrition and
And that's what I'm asking. That's
and
why I say, what
Melanie's
does that
nutrition
mean?
or
Right.
something different. You understand what I'm saying?
I
I
do.
don't eat hummus.
I do.
There's stuff that I eat, and so you have to meet people, like you
Yeah, you have to
said,
find your
where
way.
they are. And part of
You
where
have to
we
find out
are
what
is we
works
have
for
a
you.
culture. We have been bred up in a culture of things that we eat, and you need everything that you
But
eat.
one thing that God will do, He will always send you a way. And He always sends you it through people. He will bless you through people.
But it's up to you to make the
He will
choice.
give you
Yes.
warnings
He's
too.
just-
But you
Can
got to
I-
know what
You gotta
share
know
something
what
with y'all?
choices are
So
available.
listen, let me
You
tell
gotta
you,
know what
I want to
choices.
talk directly
And you
to
just
you.
wanna
I'm
be
sorry,
ready.
Doc, for a second. So listen, I kind of know a lot because I used to. Well, still technically, I'm a certified personal trainer. So most of my 20s and 30, and that's what I did part time. So kind of what you're talking about with certain clients, I would tell them that like doctors tell you that everybody's body is constructed differently, right? And because of that construction, there's certain things like you may be able to handle more protein than I can handle, and in which case your body needs the protein to build the muscle faster, slower, however it works, different things, different bodies go different ways. So a doctor telling you to just eat right and exercise is not going to work, because even with the exercise, some people think exercise is lifting weights, when lifting weights is not exercise because your heart is not necessarily moving. So it's a lot of things that people don't understand with these things. But that said, I always tell people, before you do that, before we do any of that, just start walking and talk to yourself to figure out exactly what you want to do. Because when I say like the mind, we talking about knowledge, like a lot of people think they want to do something and they get into it, and you
So
get
it's
into
not
the
it.
routine and it's like, I know I got to do it, but then you miss one day, and then
One day turns into two, turns
Yeah.
into a
Yeah.
week.
that
becomes
means that
easier.
you didn't. It's not at the top of your priorities, So you have to really decide if this is what you want to do, because if this is really what you want to do, it's going to show, like you said with abstract. I'm up 2:00 in the morning writing because this is what I want.
But then too, and this is just my perspective, I don't believe that telling somebody to eat right and exercise is
It's
enough.
going to work. That's why I said you
It's
have
not
to
enough.
decide you
First
want
of
it.
all, we should demand a nutrition involved in our healthcare.
Exactly.
Everybody that comes into the
Exactly.
hospital should have a nutritionist, because even though we're raised in the same culture, I may not be able to process fat.
Agreed.
You may be able to you may need fat because you need some weight. And I mean, everything you eat, you need. It's just how is that going to work with your body?
So my aunt was not a physician
Okay.
in the physical, but she was in the spirit.
Hey now.
And I'm going to tell you, that woman knew what she was talking about. And I'm thankful that I was ready, because, see, a crisis occurred, and change sometimes doesn't happen until a crisis occurs.
Most times.
Growth is uncomfortable, brother.
Change doesn't happen until you have a situation where you're scared. And then now things start to change, and you're like, okay, yeah, I better start listening a little closer. She had wisdom. She never went to medical school.
But
In
she
the
looked like
natural.
you.
But you know how we were talking about growing up. I always had a garden. My family always had a garden. We always produced food. We were talking earlier about how in Akron, like on the north side especially,
Right.
well, everyone from Akron that was black, your family came from down south somewhere because all the jobs
Right,
were there. So you
right,
came.
right.
So they brought themselves. When they came to a place, they brought everything with them. So the ones that had yards, you always had rows of greens and black-eyed peas and poke salad and
Cucumbers.
tomatoes, and
Cucumbers.
all kinds of stuff, and then
Tomatoes.
uncaged chickens. And so, but
Squash.
and I'm telling you that I
Watermelon.
grew up always getting food out
Yeah.
the yard.
Yeah.
Even as an adult, go out there and
Right.
get the food. And what we use now we use that pesticide. We should take the ashes from the hearth
Right.
and put it out there to keep the bugs from eating, because that's natural.
That's natural.
That's natural.
Yeah.
And then you wash it off, and then you take those vegetables, you blanch them. Now, back in the day, we used to put them in aluminum foil and put them in the freezer, or the Frigidaire, and put them in the freezer. And the man used to come around and bring blocks of ice for
and
them.
you kept it
ice
simple.
box. Kept it simple.
not
But they
complicated.
lived to be
Yeah.
very old.
Yeah.
Never heard anything about
Right.
diabetes or sugar
No.
or heart disease or cancer and all these things. And And they didn't get the inoculations, and they didn't do all this stuff. But the one thing that they did do, besides eating like that, they did more exercise. They did more physical activity. Mostly because they had to, because the jobs that they had, some of them didn't even drive, they walked.
I mean, 70% of your muscle mass is in your legs.
Right.
It's in your thighs.
So
so if you walk and you 30 minutes, you walk 30 minutes, that's going to burn for 2 days. You got 48 hours of
I couldn't
working.
even run to that door right there 5 years ago. I have run 90-something marathons to date.
Wow, that's
Awesome.
Come on.
Awesome.
I'm just telling you.
Come on. Because I run some marathons and I know what it
I
takes.
needed the village of people to help me. There wasn't nutritionists, okay? But it was people that I work with, people like Coach, my aunt, my uncle, this person. God just kept sending them.
He sent
Help
you.
Jay.
He sent you
whole
exactly what
community.
you needed.
Or you attracted it.
Yeah.
And that's and I'm glad you said that because
I
I
got to
want
cut in here real
Go
quick
ahead.
because we got to take a quick break. Don't go nowhere. Come back right here.
Right here.
Right here.
Right here.
Come on
I
now.
told you.
Come on now.
Everyone has a story to tell, and I know you do too. But you don't know where or how to start? Imagination Press will help you. Write, edit, and publish your book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Lulu.com, Ingram, as well as helping you reach markets across the globe. Call us today on 301-379-2709 for a free one-on-one consultation, or visit our website and send us an email, imaginationpressonline.com. Again, that's imaginationpressonline.com. Imagination Press is your complete guide to publishing, branding, and promotions. Give us a call today.
We're back on the set. We got a little demonstration here. The mad scientist, the realist.
Okay, I guess I'll be Boris.
Oh no.
Oh my God. So this is another problem that I noticed, that our measurements are in grams, liters, meter, stuff that we don't really operate in every day. So people, go around there drinking Cokes. As you notice, we don't have a lot of time. I'm going to do this very quickly. If you notice, Coke, Pepsi, Cherry Pop, if you look on the back of any of the pops, they're above 60 grams of sugar. Now, does anybody know what 60 grams of sugar? Most people don't understand. They know it's a lot. It sounds like a lot, but you don't really know concretely what 60 grams of sugar. Well, you got a teaspoon. For every gram of sugar, for every teaspoon, there's 4 grams of sugar. So if there's 68 grams of sugar in this 20-ounce Pepsi, you divide 4 into 68. So that's what? 16 tablespoons of sugar. So now I'm just going to show you just very quickly. That's 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's 1 ounce.
5,
6. What you drink when you drink
7,
Yeah.
8. Count with her.
9,
10, 11, 12,
Wow. Wow,
13,
look at all that
14,
Wow.
15, 16. Ron, get turn that cup that way so people turn it so he can see, so everybody else can see. That
16 grams of sugar. I'll tell you, in a measuring cup, it's half a cup of sugar.
It's right to here. If you can't see inside, but it's
I don't have my measuring cup.
Damn.
But if I
it's
did,
right to here.
If I did. So when you start shopping and making choices, the way to make better choices is to have knowledge, not information. You understand what I'm saying? That's why there's a difference between having information and having knowledge. Right. When you know what a gram equals, then you know what you're putting in your body and how much you're putting in your body. 10 grams of sugar and under. 10 grams of sugar and under. That's a reasonable amount of sugar. That's 2.5 teaspoons that you would do at any time. But if you sit down and you do this, you're drinking half a cup.
If you drink two of these in a day, you
got a cup of sugar.
A cup of sugar.
A cup of sugar.
Woo!
Wow. So that's when.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm talking about with.
That's what they're drinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
People are. That's why we're sick.
Yeah, I mean burners,
That's just
74
one day.
grams.
That's why
Imagine
we're sick.
7 days a week.
Oh yeah, look on the back, and you'd be amazed at the amount, the sugar
Some people
content
drink
in
4
what
and
you're.
5 of them
For
a
those of
day.
you who
your
don't know
body.
Vernors is something we get in Ohio and Akron.
Yeah.
Ginger pop. We gotta be in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah,
They don't-
75
So what about
grams
regular?
of
What about
sugar.
Canada Dry, regular ginger ale?
Oh, the same thing.
Same thing,
Same.
60. Everything is 60 and above.
74%.
That's still.
Yeah.
And you just did the minimum, right?
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
that
I'm
was
just
60
saying
right
that's
there.
60.
Again,
Just 64.
just in case y'all don't know, because of the importance of this. Now, the cup is right here, full of sugar. Right here,
And 2 pops.
right here.
It's half
so,
a cup.
And 2 pops. Okay, that's our Ohio
32
expression.
ounces.
Sodas. You know, y'all sodas down here. But anyway, two sodas is a full cup of sugar.
It's a lot.
That's
This
a lot.
this is added sugar. This is a processed
Natural.
sugar.
Right.
There's
Right.
nothing natural about
That's
that.
right.
Exactly.
At all.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
once again, that's why we're here. That's why you have codes. That's you know, that's why we're all here, because we're trying to give
We
you
are
information
sounding the alarm.
to save your life.
Okay, I know
Yes,
this is a
to
mirror,
save
but
your
this is a
life.
bell now. Ding, 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 ding,
Boy, got it.
ding,
Boy,
ding,
got it.
So what? So the Sugar Foundation, you talk about education. Speak to that real quick. First.
People want to see people that look like them, because then they feel like you understand me. So when I talk to my patients, especially the difficult patients, they know I understand, because I talk to them in a language and in a way. I got my head moving too, so you understand
Your
what I'm talking
Your
about.
passion precedes you, actually.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
Walking in
I'm
with
glad to hear that. So when I
Amen.
come at you, I'm coming at you with the real. It's you can die or not. It's up to you. I care about you, but if you don't care, I can't care more about you than you care about yourself.
Leave it to the
So
woman.
let me.
Yes,
yes,
yeah.
Yes.
That's
Let
a
me
statement.
give you the information, and you can do with it what you will. But I'm gonna give it to you
Did
in a
you
way
hear
that
that?
you
We are
understand.
sounding the alarm.
Okay.
Yes.
Ding,
Okay.
ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Yeah, that mirror, y'all. This is a
Yeah,
bell.
absolutely.
Sounding the
Now the
alarm.
mirror's a
And so
bell.
that's the
Mirror
purpose of
bell.
the
All right,
foundation.
So green time is green every day. I teach people how to implement more green in their diets, especially people who are dealing in a health crisis such as diabetes, high cholesterol. These are juices that I do for specific reasons, like collard greens, ginger, asparagus, very powerful probiotics.
What does it do?
It just gets to your cell immediately. It gives you the energy that you may be looking for. Chlorophyll is major, because chlorophyll is what you need for your red blood cells so it can carry oxygen to your brain.
And I ain't allergic to it, man. I might take it. I don't know. About
Right, and if you're allergic to it,
how would I know?
some of the things you
I
have to
take it.
try, and you have to try on your own, and you have to find out and understand what your body what your body type is like. Beet juice, beet, ginger, carrot, very high in beta carotene, but it's a nitric oxide. She knows that because she's a nurse. What it does is it opens up the blood vessels so that things can flow.
blood pressure go
your
down.
blood
Blood
pressure can
flow,
go
yeah.
down.
Blood pressure
all
go
the
down.
plaque can be removed, and these
You
are
ain't gotta
things
take Viagra.
you ain't got to take none of that
Right,
stuff.
you can have
ain't
sex
gotta
with
take
your
none of that
wife.
stuff.
Right,
You
I
gotta
mean, I'm
take
just
that
saying.
high blood pressure.
You can have sex with your wife. I mean, I'm
Because
being
you
real.
know about diabetes affects.
Yeah, I mean, I'm being real. The medicine that they give you. Go ahead.
You know what?
Exactly.
This one
I'ma
for all
just-
of you
I'ma
that
sit
have
back.
that natural sweet tooth that just can't do something like this, you can do a pear, a lemon, and ginger. Most of these are what they have in common is ginger, because ginger deals with the digestive
Yeah.
Right.
properties that your body needs. And then here's the powerhouse. Turmeric. Nobody who is buying fresh turmeric?
What is it?
We're always buying dry
It's turmeric.
and powdered
It's fruit or
turmeric.
vegetable?
Turmeric is a root, and what it
Yeah.
does
Tell
is
them
that
what
it
it
helps
does.
promote digestion, and it helps to reduce inflammation that is built up in your body. This is the
I actually
natural,
take a turmeric ginger
natural
vitamin every day.
medicine. This is from Aunt Gladys. She told me all this stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, and
You take
it's
a shot of that every day, or
No, you don't have to. You just take it when you
I
find
do.
out what your plan is and you implement it.
Absolutely, okay.
and what he's talking about is very important, because when if you're gonna go to work and bring something to drink,
Okay.
why not do
Bring a
something
shot of
that's
that.
why not do something that's gonna benefit you?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Instead of a cup of sugar.
Instead of a cup
Do you
of
sell
sugar.
those, brother?
I don't yet, but that's coming.
We're gonna
at
get
some
on.
point, yeah.
Let's
We're
talk.
gonna get all the
Yeah.
information on
Let's
Green
talk.
Time here in a minute.
But-
But our cousin Francis came in the house here. Francis
Francis.
and Teresa. We had a conversation about how Ghanaians. I asked a question about diabetes in different parts, because we're all Afro descendants and we're all from continent of Africa. And I asked what was the occurrence of diabetes and these type of things. And that part where he's and I was stunned to hear his response.
Yeah, I was telling cousin that if I take my mind back to the 70s, I can't remember, the disease diabetes as something that was prevalent at the time. And I also look back and I realized that pop or soda, you call it, was something we had once or twice a year.
Wow.
At Christmas time, Daddy would buy, yes, it was a treat. So we got our juices from the regular oranges, mangoes, squeeze. Well, we used to, we were kids, so we used to eat them. Right. And so the thing about sugar at the time was, I can't remember that it was a big deal at the time, So what has happened over the years, obviously, is the influence from the West, and the Coca-Cola has a big plant in Accra, Ghana, and so on, so that they sell the idea of drinking all these sodas and stuff. So incidentally, recently, it's become a very serious problem among the young people in Ghana as well. They are developing diabetes at a very early age, but that wasn't the case before. We never even put sugar in regular food. I mean, putting sugar in regular food was like a taboo. Nobody does that. Because
we put sugar on grits, right?
Yeah, we don't do that. The only time we put a little sugar is when we have our morning porridge, which is usually corn flour with, they mix it with some stuff, and you put a little sugar to sweeten it so you can have it with your bread. But that was it. The regular meal was fufu, rice, whatever, yams and all that. There was no sugar anywhere. Right. So some of us were a little shocked when we realized that when the Chinese people are even doing chicken, they put sugar on chicken. Yeah. We're like, why would you do that?
Can I clear something up, though? Because I don't want anybody to think that diabetes is because of sugar, because it's not. Right. So don't get confused thinking, well, if I don't eat no sugar, I'm not going to get diabetes. It doesn't have anything to do with sugar, because there's only 3 types of food you put in your body.
Can you clarify that?
Carbohydrates, protein, and fat. That's the only 3 categories of food that there are. Carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. You got to have carbs so that you can get up. If your body doesn't have carbs, that's how we get our energy. You need protein for your muscles. You need fat for insulation. Diabetes is caused because your pancreas, it is an organ in your body that exudes insulin. And when that organ goes bad or something in your body doesn't operate efficiently, then you get diabetes, not because you eat sugar. This just exacerbates or makes it worse, in other words. When you add sugar on top of an illness that you're already fighting, when you add things that don't agree with it, it's like having lung cancer and still smoking. You know what I mean? It's the same thing.
Like
you just exacerbate it. So it's not because you eat sugar, it's because your pancreas is failing or your cells don't like the insulin that you're giving out. So it's, yes, ma'am.
Do we know what the cause
I was just about to ask
that. Let me let you think about this. There's 300 million people in the United States affected by diabetes. 100 million people that actually have it, 86 million people that are pre-diabetic, actually pre-diabetic. What do that many people have in common? Food. That is the only thing that 300 million people have in common is food. So it's got to be the way that they process the food, the fact that there's genetically modified food, the fact that we're not growing our food ourselves. It's the strawberries. I was just telling them earlier, kale has 19, they tested a piece of kale, 19 different types of pesticides on kale. Strawberries, there were 45 different types of pesticides. And if you look up those pesticides, because I had to look them up, carcinogenic, which means they cause cancer. There's some that kill bees that actually help keep the crops healthy. So there's all types of stuff in the different types of pesticide. They talk about them separate, but now when you mix them together, now it becomes lethal, right? So people start getting more diseases. So you got to think about what you're putting in your mouth and where you're getting it from and how dirty it is.
So how do
Speaking
you
of,
clean your fruit?
so
30 seconds.
How do you clean
one
it?
second. So we have a recipe. We have a recipe book. There's all types of things in here, not just recipes, foot soak and all of that. But you can do vinegar, water, lemon, and baking soda. Mix that together, spray your fruits, let it sit 5 minutes, rinse them off. 98% of the pesticide has been removed.
With purified water, of course.
It's healthy, natural. You don't have to go to the store and get some type of spray.
Yeah.
You can make it yourself.
I hate to cut this, but I'm gonna give
Coach, I'm
Coach.
so sorry. Yes.
How do we find you when we want to find a coach?
You can contact me at Coach Don, DONJ, @gmail.com. Coach Don, CoachDon@gmail.com.
Jay, how can we find
So
you?
contact me on my website. It's www.greentimellc.com.
Say that again.
greentimellc.com.
Dee Dee, the
Yes,
Sugar. How
ma'am.
do we contact the Sugar Foundation?
TheSugar.com. That's all you got to remember is TheSugar.com.
In the Valentine magazine, her book was one of the books that were featured inside there. So, and we have a room full of authors. As you know, we're going to pick this back up again real soon. So, Dee Dee, we want to thank you
Thank
for making the
you.
trip to come down.
Yes, ma'am.
Coach,
I
want to
enjoyed
thank you for
myself.
taking
Coach.
time to come in. Jay, want to thank you. I mean, it's just like a full of love in here. I want one quick thing, and then Sean's going to take us out on this. This is personal. I had a student named Ashley Lawson. I taught school. I tell you all my students, a lot of them still keep in touch with me. Ashley lost her grandmom this past week, and they called her Granny. And Ashley's grandmom used to come up to that school. Although Ashley's mom worked, and so she would come up, but Ashley's grandmama was a wonderful woman. Her name is Ella Mae Carrington. I want to read this real quick because I know they're traveling back to Texas from Ohio. I know you're going to catch this show later on, Ashley, and I want you to know how much I really love you. Only once in this life do we have an encounter with the Spirit so divine. And when privileged to experience such wisdom and love that was truly kind. She spoke, and beyond words, all penetrated upon ears that weren't deaf. Only physical separation because you remain and all the lives yet left. To Ashley and your family, I'm always here for you with much love. Give me a call. I'm ready to listen to you. And to your family, we send our condolences on behalf of everyone here.
Absolutely.
Yes. I would like to say, and I'm going to take it back to the basics. When God designed the body, he made that perfect union. You know what I mean? To the body parts work in conjunction with each other. Okay, now, once the body was made, the body has the capacity to heal itself.
Absolutely.
And then, on top of that, he made fruits and vegetables and herbs and spices that we can use. Now, when man put his foot in it, all these chemicals, and then you have now all this.
Preservatives.
Yeah, these preservatives and things of that nature. Now you got 1,800 different kind of cancers.
1,800 different kind of cancers. Hold that right there. Next week, we're going to come back on the opposite side of our political show. We're talking about all these candidates that are running. We're going to finish up what we had the other week. Stay tuned.
Thank you, guys.
Ron,
Thank you,
take it
guys.
home.